Exclusive The Young and the Restless spoilers Monday, July 20th. Nikki's scary outcome. Nick's dark side and Diane hunts for answers. Nikki anxiously awaits life-changing news about her vision. Nick considers a shocking move against Matt, and Diane launches a desperate search for Dr. Markham. This article contains spoilers for the upcoming episode of The Young and the Restless, airing Friday, July 17th in Canada and Monday, July 18th in the United States. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, July 20th indicate Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, braces for a scary outcome as Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, dips into his dark side. Plus, Diane Abbott, Susan Walters, will be searching for answers. Learn more about what's going down during Monday's show below. Key takeaways. Nikki's bandages finally come off. Nick embraces his dark side. Matt's future hangs in the balance. Diane searches for Dr. Markham. Victor stands by Nikki's side. The bandages come off. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, July 20th, hint that Nikki's eye bandages will come off. As Nikki and the doctors have noted, it's unclear if her vision will be restored or how long it may take to come back. There's also the idea that Nikki will never see again, but during Monday's show, she will go to the hospital for that first step of taking them off, post-surgery. Nikki has remained cool, calm, and collected leading up to this doctor's appointment, but fans know that she's terrified on the inside. Nikki broke down during the Friday, July 17th episode when she and Victor Newman, Eric Braden, had a heart-to-heart and told the man how scared she was. He hugged her, and the good news is that he'll be by her side when she goes to the doctor, but what will the outcome be? Nick Newman's dark side. Across town, Nick and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, will still be in the GC shadow room, reeling in the aftermath of Matt Clark's Roger Howarth outburst. On the July 17th show, Matt was frustrated at the fact that everyone still grilled him. No one trusted him, and everyone pounced on his every move. Matt declared he was leaving town for good. Still, as no one believes Matt's intentions are ever genuine, Nick will dip into his dark side during the July 20th episode and declare that he wants to rid the threat of Matt for good. Will Nick kill the man who saved his life? Only time will tell. Diane Abbott wants answers. Lastly, The Young and the Restless spoilers for July 20th reveal that Diane will be looking for answers on Dr. Lawrence Markham's, Jerry Burns' whereabouts. She's nervous that the police haven't found the man and will believe that reaching out to Martin Lauron, Christopher Cousins, is a good idea. After all, Markham's place was filled with books from Martin's twin, Alan Lauron, Christopher Cousins, so maybe her plan isn't that far-fetched. Either way, Diane wants Lawrence located, if only for her own peace of mind. Rain tapped against the tall windows while Eleanor Hart stood alone in the grand foyer, clutching the polished banister as dizziness swept over her. For weeks she had ignored the warning signs, the headaches, the sleepless nights, the strange feeling that someone was always watching her. Tonight, everything changed. A sharp pain shot through her chest. She gasped, struggling to catch her breath before collapsing onto the marble floor. Upstairs, her son Nathan heard the crash. "Mom." He rushed down the staircase 2 steps at a time, finding Eleanor barely conscious. Her skin had turned pale, and her pulse felt frighteningly weak. He called for an ambulance, but as he reached for her hand, Eleanor whispered something that froze him in place. "They're lying." Before Nathan could ask who she meant, she lost consciousness. Across town, Nathan's younger brother, Lucas Hart, stared at himself in the mirror of his downtown apartment. The man looking back wasn't the person everyone believed him to be. For years, he had been the dependable son, the charming businessman, the brother everyone trusted. Yet beneath the polished smile lived growing resentment. Nathan had inherited their father's company. Nathan received the praise. Nathan was always the hero. Lucas convinced himself that life had been unfair. When his phone buzzed, an anonymous message appeared. "Everything is ready. Finish what you started." Lucas deleted the text immediately. He wasn't supposed to feel guilty anymore, but guilt had a way of refusing to disappear. Meanwhile, Eleanor's longtime friend Vivian Cross couldn't ignore the strange inconsistencies surrounding the family's recent tragedies. Important financial files had disappeared. Security cameras had mysteriously stopped recording on several nights. Anonymous payments had been transferred through shell companies. Too many coincidences. Vivian opened an old storage box containing documents Eleanor had hidden years earlier. Inside rested faded photographs, handwritten letters, and a journal wrapped in blue ribbon. The first page read, "If anything happens to me, trust no one, not even family." Vivian's heart pounded. What had Eleanor discovered? At Memorial Hospital, doctors fought to stabilize Eleanor. Nathan paced outside the intensive care unit while relatives gathered with worried expressions. The attending physician finally emerged. "We've managed to stabilize her, but the next 24 hours are critical." Nathan nodded silently. He wanted answers. Instead, he found more questions. Why had his mother seemed terrified lately? Who had she been talking about? And why did she whisper they're lying? Lucas arrived shortly afterward, wearing concern like a perfectly tailored suit. "How is she?" Nathan looked exhausted. She's alive, his brother, though his embrace felt unusually cold. "I'm sure she'll recover." Nathan appreciated the support. He didn't notice Lucas quietly scanning the hallway, making certain no detectives had arrived. Vivian entered Eleanor's home using the spare key she had possessed for decades. The house felt different. Someone had been there. Desk drawers were open. Books had been moved. One painting hung, slightly crooked. She carefully straightened it. A metallic click echoed behind the wall. Her eyes widened. Hidden inside was a small safe. The combination wasn't difficult. Eleanor had once joked that Vivian knew her better than anyone. The safe opened. Inside rested a flash drive and a sealed envelope. Across the front, Eleanor had written, "For Vivian only." Hands trembling, she unfolded the letter. "If you're reading this," it began, "someone has already tried to silence me." Back at the hospital, detectives interviewed family members. Routine questions quickly became uncomfortable. "Where were you last night?" Nathan described attending a charity dinner. Lucas claimed he had been working late. His answers were smooth, almost too smooth. One detective noticed the slight delay before every response. People who rehearsed stories often paused just long enough to remember the script. Vivian plugged the flash drive into her laptop. Dozens of files appeared. Financial records, private emails, voice recordings. One audio clip immediately caught her attention. She pressed play. Eleanor's voice filled the room. "If anything happens to me, Lucas knows more than he's admitting." Vivian stopped breathing. "No." She replayed the recording. The words remained unchanged. Lucas sat alone in his car outside the hospital parking garage. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. Nothing had gone according to plan. Eleanor wasn't supposed to survive. Now she lay in intensive care, and every passing hour increased the chance she might wake up. If she remembered everything, his carefully constructed world would collapse. Nathan wandered into the hospital chapel. He wasn't particularly religious, but grief often sent people searching for hope wherever they could find it. An elderly janitor quietly swept the floor before speaking. Funny how truth always catches up with people. Nathan smiled politely. "I hope you're right." The janitor nodded. "It may take years." He looked toward the intensive care unit, but it always arrives. Vivian rushed to meet Detective Claire Monroe. Without saying a word, she handed over the flash drive. Claire spent several minutes reviewing its contents. Her expression grew increasingly serious. "This changes everything. There was more than one victim, wasn't there?" Vivian asked. Claire slowly nodded. "We've been investigating financial crimes." She paused. "Now we're looking at attempted murder." Inside her hospital room, Eleanor remained unconscious. Machines beeped steadily. Doctors monitored every heartbeat. Then, almost imperceptibly, her fingers moved. A nurse noticed first. Eleanor. Her eyelids fluttered. Slowly, painfully, she opened her eyes. Nathan hurried into the room. Mom. She looked directly at him. Tears filled her eyes. With enormous effort, she whispered 2 words. Trust, Vivian. Before anyone could ask another question, alarms suddenly erupted throughout the room. Doctors rushed inside. Nathan was pushed into the hallway. The doors slammed shut. Elsewhere, Lucas received another anonymous message. She woke up. His blood ran cold. Seconds later, another text arrived. Now everyone is in danger. Lucas looked around the parking lot. Someone was watching him. But who? The person who had manipulated him from the beginning. Or someone preparing to expose every secret he had buried. For the first time in years, Lucas realized he wasn't controlling the game. He was simply another piece on the board. And somewhere in the darkness, the real mastermind was already planning the next move.